Hi everyone, welcome to my channel and welcome back. I'm Jeannie and I've been seeing Aurora nails a lot more lately, and it's been a hot minute since I've done a set myself. So I decided I wanted to do another set, but I'm going to make it pearly and I love the way it turned out. So I'm going to be using some new releases from All Powdered Up. So for my Aurora nails, I'm going to be pairing Peach Out with Love at First Flight. These are actually both shimmers, and it's best to do Aurora nails with solid colors, but I did make it work and I love the way it turned out. But of course, I had to throw in a glitter as well. So I've got Coral Me Crazy. This is such a beautiful mixture of like so many different colors. It's got large hex glitters, medium and small, fine glitters. So it's a mixture of glitters and it's just jam packed and so beautiful. And I will be dipping on some full coverage tips. So I've been on the hunt for a really good set of short almond cover tips. So cover meaning they have color to them, that they're opaque, and I finally found these on Amazon and I absolutely love them. I've tried several. They haven't been what I've wanted, but these are amazing. So if you like these, I can't remember the name of them, but I'll leave them linked down below in the description in case you want to pick them up. I actually bought more colors after I tried these because I loved them so much. But anyway, we're going to go ahead and jump straight into this mani. So I'm just dumping my jar of Peach Out into my Chaos Gemerald just because the jars are so full. It's just going to make it easier to dip into. And then Love at First Flight, I'm going to keep in the jar because that's going to be what I'm going to use in the Aurora. I'll also be using my All Powdered Up dip liquids, which just recently released. I did a first impressions video on them a few weeks ago. If you haven't checked that out, I'll leave that linked up above in the cards. And I'm going to be starting with my dip base, which is my glue, which is what my dip powder is going to adhere to. I am going to do scrub ombre method, so I do need a brush. So I have this little brush from Orly. I'm not sure where I got it, or maybe they sent it to me, but I like it for the scrub ombre because it's shorter and more compact. It's a little skinnier too, and I need that because my nails are shorter right now. So I want to make sure that I'm not scrubbing on too much of that pigment. So I'm starting with my dip base. I removed most of the excess liquid from my brush, and I'm just applying a thin, even layer of dip base to my entire nail. And then I'm going to go ahead and dip my entire nail into Peach Out. After I dip in a couple times to make sure that dip base is fully absorbed, I'm going to clean up around my cuticle area and sidewalls to remove any excess product. And then I'm going to take my little brush and I'm going to dip it into Love at First Flight. And I'm not going to scrub right now because the dip base is still a little bit wet, but I'm going to start patting on in around the center of my nail. I'm going to start patting on Love at First Flight. And this is going to start transferring some of that pink pigment onto Peach Out. But once I'm comfortable enough that my dip base is dry enough, then I'm going to start scrubbing in a circular motion. And that's going to scrub in that pink pigment into the peach color. So whenever you're doing a scrub ombre, you want to make sure that your base color is the lighter color and that you're scrubbing on the darker color. So I just tapped off the excess to see where I'm at. I'm happy with that coverage for the first layer. So here's how it's looking. It's super easy. I love this method. You just have to be really careful. You can't just start scrubbing right away or else you'll scrub off your base layer if your dip base isn't fully dry. So you kind of have to find that sweet spot because it's fully dry. It's also harder to scrub in that pigment. So that's why after I dip in, I start tapping in. I don't do any scrubbing. I just start tapping in that color. And then once I feel like that dip base is dry enough, that's when I'll start scrubbing in that color. And so if you struggle with ombres, I think this is a really great method. You just have to make sure that the colors are contrasting enough and that you're starting with your lighter color as your base. Because if you do a darker color, you probably won't see that scrub of the pigment of the lighter color as much. So it's just better to do it this way. You also don't have to do the scrub ombre method to achieve the Aurora nail look. You could also do tap ombre method depending on what your preference is. I just found it easier to do the scrub ombre for this type of look. But for tap ombre, it would be similar. So I would apply that dip base to my entire nail. I would dip my eyeshadow brush. I'd probably start with the pink first. I would dip it into the pink and then tap it on the center of my nail. And then once I have the center of my nail covered as much as I'd like, I would dip my eyeshadow brush into the Peach Out, and then I would tap that on the rest of my nail, which would be the perimeter of my nail. Let that dry, dust off the excess powder. And then for my second layer, I would reverse the order. So I would apply my dip base and then I would dip into the peach and then tap that around the perimeter of my nail. And then I would go in with the pink and tap the pink onto the rest of my nail on that center. And so reversing the order of the colors after, as you switch layers will help that blend a little bit more. And it works really well as well. And here on my pinky is what happens when I do what I say don't do. So I actually ended up scrubbing too soon. So I actually removed some of the peach out, but it ends up being okay because I do a second layer. But I don't know if you could see it really well, but you can see kind of like a little bald patch in the center of my nail, as well as on the other side, I missed a little corner. So it's not perfect, but I'm going to fix that with the second layer. So you can see right there that little corner missing. So anyway, now I'm going in with layer two. So I'm going in with a thin, even layer of dip base on my entire nail. And it's going to be the same process. So I don't reverse order or anything because I need that layer of peach first to scrub onto. So I apply my dip base to my entire nail. I dip into peach out. I make sure that I dip a couple times just to make sure that dip base is fully absorbed. And once I know it's fully absorbed, I'm going to go ahead and clean up my cuticle area and sidewalls, and then I'm going to take that pink and start scrubbing that in the center. Well, not scrubbing just yet. I'm going to start tapping in that color at first. So just pressing down lightly until I know that the dip base is dry enough, and then I'll start scrubbing. You can do as many layers as you like, but I'm going to stop at 2 layers of the Aurora nails. And then before I move on to my glitter, I want to encapsulate these nails in clear. So I am using my all powdered up clear. It's a really great quality. I don't have any issues with it. And I'm actually running low. So I need to restock because I love having this clear on hand. It's a really great one to have. So I'm going ahead and applying a even layer of dip base to my entire nail. I use a little bit more dip base than I would for a regular dip powder layer because I want to make sure that clear is getting fully absorbed into that dip base. But obviously, I don't want too much dip base to where I'm flooding my cuticle area and sidewalls. And the reason I'm encapsulating these nails in clear, well, I normally do anyway, but you especially want to make sure you're encapsulating your Aurora nails if you're doing any filing and buffing, because if you weren't to protect them with something, you would end up filing and buffing through that Aurora nail, the color. So you just get like a solid nail color, which kind of defeats the purpose. So I want to make sure that I'm protecting the nails. And then after the dip base is fully dry, I'm going to take a stiff scrub brush and I want to scrub off any of that excess powder. So using a little excess dip base, making sure the clear powder is fully absorbed, and then scrubbing with a stiff scrub brush ensures that you don't get any graininess or cloudiness with your clear dip powder. So it ensures you have like super clear nails. So I love doing this anytime I am encapsulating my nails. So after I've done that, I'm going to go ahead and activate these nails as well. And the reason I activate them is because glitter will not stick to an activated nail. So I'm using the glitter next. I want to make sure that if I have any stray glitters, that they're not going to stick to my solid nails, because then you'll really be able to see it and it's going to annoy me. This also helps speed up the process a little bit more because as I'm working with the glitters, these nails are already curing and hardening. So by the time I'm done with my glitter nails, these will be ready to file and buff. And by the time I'm done filing and buffing my solid nails, my glitter nails are ready to file and buff as well. So anyway, now I'm moving on to my glitter. So this is Coral Me Crazy. This is also a new release and it is just so gorgeous. There are so many beautiful colors in here. Honestly, I wanted a periwinkle color because I felt like there was some like periwinkle, and it might be the iridescent glitters in there reflecting off the other colors, but I felt like a periwinkle vibe in it. And surprisingly, I don't have a periwinkle all powdered up dip powder color, which I don't even know how that's possible because I have so many dip powders. So I may have to do a little bit of shopping, but maybe I need to cool it for a little bit longer. But anyway, either way, I'm happy with the way these colors kind of paired together with like Love at First Flight with the peach out. But I think if you have Coral Me Crazy, if you have a periwinkle color, try pairing it with that. I want to see how that turns out. I feel like that would make the iridescent glitters in here pop a little bit more. And I also think periwinkle looks really good with like the peach tones, but I definitely need to see that. But anyway, I'm getting sidetracked, so I went ahead and dipped into the glitter, and then before the dip base is fully dry, I'm just moving around the glitters. I'm pressing down a little bit to make sure they're laying flat. So here's how the first layer is looking. It is such a gorgeous glitter, and you really have to see it in person to really appreciate it. And I love the mixture of like the finer glitters and then the smaller and larger glitters. So it's a really great mixture and it makes it easier to work with because there's so many fine glitters in here. So I really got good coverage with the first layer. I end up doing 2 layers just because I wanted more of those colors, but I really think you could get away with 1 layer. And then if you want more of those chunky glitters, you can just go ahead and do some glitter placement if you want thinner layers. But I was happy with the 2 layers. So I think you can get away with one, which is really great. You can do more depending on how you want it to look, but it just makes it so easy to work with. I know chunkier glitters can be intimidating to work with and some can be a total pain, but I never have any issues with all powdered up glitters. They are always so unique and so gorgeous, and they always lay flat and they're super easy to work with. I went ahead and capped my glitter nails in clear, activated, and I filed and buffed all my nails off camera. So here's how my mani's looking, and I'm loving the way it's turning out. But now we're going to get into a little bit of chroming action. So if you didn't know, All Powdered Up does offer chrome powders. They have a really good variety and they're all really great quality. So I'm going to be using Pearl Girl, which is so beautiful. I love that it's a little bit sheer, but it has the most beautiful golden shimmer to it. So you can, it's just that little bit of something, but you can still see my base color underneath. A little bit of powder goes a long way. So even though it's a smaller jar, it's going to last forever. So I'm going to be using my all powdered up gel liquids for the chroming. So they recently released as well as the dip liquids. So I'm using the gel base and no wipe gel top coat. These are smaller bottles than your standard. So most standards are, I think, around 15 milliliters. These are about 12 milliliters, but I actually really like the smaller bottles better because I don't use gel liquids a lot. The smaller bottles are better for me. That way they're not sitting around too long. And then after I finish them up, I can just buy new bottles rather than having them get older or contaminated. But anyway, even though I'm only going to chrome my Aurora nails, I'm going to go ahead and gel base and gel top coat all my nails just to save a little bit of time. I'm starting with my gel base first, and that's because your gel top coat needs something to adhere to, something to grip to. And because I buffed my nails smooth, if I were to go straight in with my gel top coat, it would peel off because they're too smooth. So here I was just showing you the thin consistency of the gel base. I like that it's thinner because it has thinner layers, but it's not so thin that it's going to run on my cuticle area and sidewalls. So it's really easy to use. So I like to do my thumb separately. So I went ahead and did my thumb. I flash cured it for 10 seconds. So now I'm going to do the rest of my nails. And then once I have the gel base on all my nails, I'm going to go ahead and give them a full cure in my lamp for 60 seconds. After I cured my gel base, I'm going to use my gel top coat. So here you can see the consistency of it. It's a super thin top coat as well. I decided to go ahead and top coat my glitter nails first and fully cure it. And that way, when I get to the chrome, if I have any chrome powder flying anywhere, it's not going to stick to my glitter nails. So I make sure that I cap my free edge and then I will do the surface of my nails. Again, I'm going to do my thumbs separately. And that's because I don't want it to sit sideways in the lamp. So once I have that gel top coat on, I'm going to flash cure it for 10 seconds. I'm going to gel top coat my ring finger as well. So I want to make sure that I'm capping my free edge first, and that way I don't create a ledge on the surface of my nail. I'm going to get the top coat on the surface of my nail, and then I'm going to give them a full cure for 60 seconds. So these will be done, and then I will get into the chroming. You do need a no wipe gel top coat for the chrome. So I already have my gel base on. I'm going to go ahead and apply my no wipe gel top coat. So I'm capping the free edge and then I'm doing the surface of my nails. The one thing about chrome is it will show off any imperfection, any lump or bump. So I always make sure that I buff my nails super smooth. And then when I'm applying my gels, I want to make sure that they're even, that they're smooth. So I'm kind of looking at that line of light, making sure there aren't any wrinkles or any bumps anywhere, because I don't want to amplify any imperfections with that chrome. So that's why I'm being extra careful with my gel top coat application. I may go over it a few times. I want to keep double checking it, making sure everything looks smooth, and that way the chrome looks flawless. Trust me, it is well worth the little extra time just to ensure everything is nice and smooth, because it will really make a difference in your chrome application. The other important factor is cure time. So, cure time, there isn't like one size fits all. It's really going to depend on the gel you're using as well as the lamp you're using. You kind of have to play around with it to find what your sweet spot is for cure time. Because if you fully cure your gel top coat, your chrome isn't going to stick to it, so you can't fully cure it. You need to flash cure it. But if you under cure your gel, your chrome won't apply evenly. It'll kind of ball up and it just won't go on nicely. So you kind of have to find what is that right timing. I found with this all powdered up gel top coat and my lamp that 20 seconds is absolutely perfect. So I flash cured my gel top coat for 20 seconds. Look at this chrome. Look at that beautiful golden shimmer. So a little bit goes a long way, like I said. So I'm just using my eyeshadow applicator and I'm just picking up some of that chrome powder from the lid. And then I'm starting to rub that on my nail, and look at how smoothly and how beautifully this applies. If I need a little extra powder, I'm going to pick some more up from the lid. And that's what I mean when I say a little bit goes a long way, because I can just pick up the powder that's in the lid, and that's plenty to apply to my nail. And I love the way this looks. Like, you can still sort of see that aurora underneath, but it's just got now that really great golden shimmer to it. So I'm going to continue to rub in. Once I'm happy with that, I'm going to move on to my other fingers. So I do still use the powder in the lid, but eventually I will use just a little bit from the jar. But it doesn't even look like I used a jar because I used so little. So I'm just going ahead, chroming that in. I like to use an eyeshadow applicator. You can use like a makeup sponge as well. I don't recommend using your finger, even though it's easier to do that. But if you use your finger, because your gel isn't fully cured, it's really touching uncured gel. So I just feel like that's unsafe. So that's why I like to use an eyeshadow applicator, a makeup sponge. Sometimes I'll put on like a glove or a finger cut and rub it in that way. And that way I could still use my fingers, but not really use my fingers. But anyway, I'm going to continue on rubbing that chrome. Once I'm happy with the way that looks, I've only flash cured at this point. So I've only cured for 20 seconds. So once I'm done with that, I'm going to pop my hand back in my lamp and I'm going to cure it the rest of the way, just to make sure that top coat is fully cured. Once I have that fully cured, I'm going to use my dust brush to dust off any of that excess chrome powder, because I did make a little bit of a mess, and I am going to go in with one final layer of top coat. If I don't top coat these chrome nails, the chrome will just rub right off. So I want to make sure that I'm protecting it. And I want to make sure that I'm not contaminating my bottle of gel top coat with the excess chrome powder. So I'm going in, I want to make sure that I'm capping my free edge, and that way my chrome isn't going to peel right off. I'm going ahead making sure that I'm applying a thin, even layer of that top coat to my entire nail. And then once I've got that on, I'm going to go ahead and cure for a full 60 seconds. As always, I'm going to finish off my mani by rehydrating my cuticles with my Scales of a Mermaid cuticle oil. And if you've been around, you know that Show Me Your Fishy Face is my absolute favorite Scales of a Mermaid scent. Of course, I love all her scents, but I don't think anything will ever top Show Me Your Fishy Face. The other ambassadors laugh at me because anytime there's a scent preference, they always know that that's going to be my top. I love that it's fruity, but it's a little bit tart too, that makes it unlike any other scent. It's just super refreshing and I am obsessed with it. And if you do any shopping at Scales of a Mermaid, you can always use my affiliate code Genie10 to save 10% off your orders and support me. And of course, if you need any scent or product recommendations, please let me know. I am happy to help. So that pretty much wraps up today's video, and I am obsessed with the way this mani turned out. I love it so much. It's a little bit summery, but I don't even care just because the chrome is just so beautiful. So if you're still here, drop me a sun emoji down below in the comments and let me know what you think of this look. So I hope this video is helpful. I hope you enjoyed it. And if you did, I'd appreciate it if you gave this video a thumbs up. It lets me know to continue creating content like this, and it also helps YouTube recommend me to others, which helps grow my channel. If you haven't already, please consider subscribing. I upload content every Monday and Thursday at 9:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. As always, I appreciate you being here. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.